We are live.
Right. So next time, call the order for the July meeting of Calvert City Planning Commission. First item of business be the approval of the minutes from our last meeting. If not, those looking. Pleasure.
For meeting minutes, make a motion, we approve the minutes presented.
Motion by Gary, there a second, second by Ben, all in favor say aye. Aye. Motion approved. Old business, I guess, John, you got updates for us, Jordan said you didn't have it, so I guess it's all on you.
Well, what I want to know is if you guys have thought any more about the medical cannabis and how you want to go ahead and look at zoning. Do you want to keep it just as in retail, or do you want to do something else? Because I understand, again, this is medical cannabis. This is not recreational. We are not there yet. So this is from and by prescription only. We had someone that was interested some time back, haven't heard anything else from them, and we haven't heard any from anybody else. But it's just like so many other things, we like to get out ahead of it if we've got something we want to be concerned about.
And the agricultural part of it would, at this moment, would be considered agricultural, and but packing and distribution of it would be considered probably industrial.
Yeah, if they're going to do that, you would think, that would be a process, or production would be, and that's conditional use in a B2, but matter of right to be, I think an I1, I2. So, I mean, do you want to just go ahead and leave it at that at this point? Because you'd have retail sales for just the dispensary. If they're going to process or produce, it would be an industrial or manufacturing setup. And if they're going to do agriculture, that's agriculture. You really don't have any say on that one. Yeah. I was just a little more concerned about zoning, and if there was an option, I wanted you to get ahead of the game before you got out there. So, I mean, it just depends on how you want to proceed on that.
In my opinion, is that
The dispensary. Okay.
yeah, and so look at it, as we've seen other communities or states go on the recreational side, that would become given like so that's kind of my so.
Pharmacies would have to get a special license. Pharmacies will not dispense this. Only a dispensary will dispense it.
From a zoning perspective, we don't care.
Yeah. Not only that, there's only so many licenses allowed in a region. And so what this is, the dispensaries themselves are drawn by lottery if it's over a limit.
Business.
That's great.
And I think you mentioned, John, because I haven't read the regs, but I think already in the state regs, there are the qualifications about distances from schools and different things already. I mean,
That's correct.
it's already naming some places where it can't be. Even
Correct.
Which I think you can pretty great. What do you do with the rest of the list? You got it. Talk about the gap. It's all that stuff.
It's kind of like any other drug. Same thing for disposing of other drugs. You got the same kind of regulation.
Your thoughts?
like we treat pharmacies, you know, business areas.
Yeah. Just basically how we treat other types of businesses in that same field.
They have to meet all those sign requirements.
Yeah. Dispensaries are based on size, you're right. And, you know, it's just like a retail. You good with that? Well, I guess in that case, if you guys are all of the same mind, then we will handle it just like we would any other business in that particular zone or in that particular endeavor.
Yeah.
So if it's gonna be something that has to be by conditional use for either manufacturing or processing, then we'll bring it to the Board of Adjustments and otherwise it'll come here. The only other time it would bring it, well, it wouldn't come here unless it's conservation. If they came back and asked for something in conservation, that would be the only time it would necessarily have to come back here. Unless they were to change the zone or something. So we treat it just like retail, agriculture, and processing. Okay. You guys are good with that, then.
John, and I think Brad's, your leaning is, I mean, that to me also, that makes sense. The dispensaries, we treat it as just like we would a pharmacy. That same, and if it comes to recreational use down in the future, we've already got the guidelines of how to use a package store and use it pretty much the same way. That makes good sense.
I think the only thing that was brought up to me, I was kind of talking about it just randomly, was, well, can't you guys just say you're not gonna allow it and not change what we currently do? And I said, well, honestly, the Board of Adjustments would make that call first, right?
No. The city's gonna allow it.
Right.
So it's just a matter of where you're gonna allow the certain operations to happen and planning. And then if it's a matter of right, no, we'll handle it in-house. And if it's a conditional use, you'll handle it with the Board of Adjustments.
I was trying to explain to them, like, it's just,
No.
not the way it's pretty frank.
Well, we couldn't anyway, because the council has said, yes, we would have to find a place for it.
Right.
So. So is that the consensus for everybody? You need that in any kind of a motion or anything, Greg? I think so. All right.
No, that's just, yeah.
Our existing ordinance can handle it, is what you, so, okay. The only other thing that I would bring up is on the parking. I would like for us to table that. I think this is still in its infancy. I would like to see how it works out with these larger communities. I know that this is the developer's dream to get rid of parking, but at the same time, you know, if they don't plan for that and they don't have some sort of an idea, then especially someone who's trying to do it, you know, you got somebody comes in there who's not a developer, but they are somebody who just wants to get in there and put a business in.
Yeah.
They need to have some guidelines. Now,
Be more towards. They almost can't get.
yeah, because I mean, if you go back and look at a lot of these big communities,
That's the problem. We don't.
Think-
Public park. So
yeah.
you gotta provide it. To me, it seemed like you'd almost have to.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Well, and you're right, because if you look at a lot of communities, they have downtowns or squares or something like that. And there's, like you said, public parking on the street. There's no way they can meet the guidelines on a downtown area because they don't have enough. And they're using the city's parking for that purpose, or the community's parking for that purpose. You know, so I can kind of understand they might have some argument if another business comes in and say, hey, well, they've got the same kind of business, but they don't have to have all this parking. So, but here it's not that way. You know, we don't have public parking. Well, we do in the park and we do at City Hall. That is our public parking. We have none on the right of ways.
Yeah.
It's early in the morning.
Oh, I wish it'd be close. Order adjustments.
Oh, really? You're the manufacturer, you go to manufacturer. You want to tell them, you want to read that. See, okay, we got this up real simple.
Your example, Ben, is for traffic, that's perfect, I mean, because that's exactly right. And Graftonville is probably one of the worst places in the county that doesn't need extra traffic backing up.
Doesn't look good for the person.
Throw your way back.
So we refuse mine, stuff that's all in the car and I've seen there.
Dad built a back seat extender so we could sleep on the way.
They used to, police officers used to have training in that. I don't know if they still do or not. That's that way or not. So,
We're gonna leave it alone for a while.
okay, all right, very good.
You got more land.
What I'll do is I'll try to keep compiling what other agencies are doing and what the cities are doing. And try to base it on whatever we go by, base it on something that's from a community that's more like us.
Yeah.
Less of a downtown. There are ones cities out there without that. And I think that's more in line with what we would be into as far as that versus what Paducah and Mayfield and Bowling Green and all those places are. So, aren't then. I don't have anything else at this time.
Anybody else? I hear a motion, we adjourn. We have a motion by Brian in a second. All in favor, say aye. Motion carried. Meeting adjourned at 5:49.